Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. It's Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. This is the Pitt County Board of DSS, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before we get started, I want to observe a moment of silent prayer and silent meditation. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adopt or revise the today's agenda? Do we need to?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would request that we remove the closed session from the agenda for today.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to revise the agenda, and we'll remove the closed session. Do I have a second or a first?
Motion.
Right, second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Did everyone receive their minutes of the previous meeting? Any questions or any corrections?
Madam Chair, I do believe that Commissioner Williams was present at the meeting
Okay.
in terms of listing here board members.
Okay, so we'll make that correction. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, so I have a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. All right. The fun part, the recognition of new hires and retirees. Ms. Rochelle.
So I'd like to recognize first our new hires at Pitt County Department of Social Services. I'm going to put you all on the spot, so as I call your name, if you could come up to the podium and tell us your name and just a little bit about yourself. And welcome to Pitt County.
Surprise.
Yeah. So, Christopher Bryson. Yes.
That works.
How you doing? My name is Christopher Bryson. Came over from Department of Juvenile Justice. I've been there for about 6 years. I'm originally from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. Glad to be part of the team.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And you will be working in which area?
In-home services.
In-home services.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Kiwana Ellison.
Hi, my name is Kiwana Ellison. I will be employed in in-home services. I have experience working at Lenore County DSS and also at East Carolina University.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lashika Council? No Lashika, okay. Crystal Madeline? Hope I said that right. Hi,
My name is
Crystal.
Crystal Maudlin. I'm from Washington. I'll be working at Social Services and Co-Maintenance for the Food and Nutrition Program. My background is from Beaufort County, Washington County at Social Services, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Deborah Connor?
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Connor. I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut. I married my husband, been married for 29 years. I come from Lenore County, and now it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you
And
for
you'll be working
coming.
where?
I'm sorry?
What department?
Social services, I'll be doing redeterminations and food stamps.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Patrice Smith?
Hi, I'm Patrice Smith. I'm originally from Pitt County. I don't have any experience in DSS, so I really appreciate the offer to get to learn experience, and I appreciate it. And I'll be also working in redeterm for FNS.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Kashai Hinton?
Good afternoon. My name is Keisha, actually.
Keisha, all
Keisha
right.
Hinton. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, where I started my career in DSS. I do have 12 years in from DSS in Maryland to Virginia, and I just started here, and I will be working with FNS return.
Wonderful, thank you. Shakira Taylor?
Hello, my name is Shakira Taylor. I will be working with social services, doing income maintenance, caseworking for food stamps. And I am a mother of 3 girls, and my husband is a truck driver, so we always are on the road when I'm off on the weekends. But other than that, I don't have any experience. I used to be a teacher, but now I'm going to be working actually with the county versus on the back end, helping the community. But I am ready to see what I will be learning in the new year.
Wonderful, thank you. Tyaja Tripp?
My name is Asia Tripp. I'm a social worker in the in-home CPS unit. I used to do public assistance for family and children's Medicaid. I was a caseworker for Trillium Health Resources. I got my BSW, and I'm currently getting my MSW.
Congratulations, welcome. Candida Cox?
Hi, my name is Candida Cox. I'm a native of Pitt County. This is my first go-round with DSS. I'll be in intake FNS program. I'm looking to just diversify my different skills from hospitality to customer service to administrative. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome, thank you. Danielle Lilly? Well, welcome, Danielle. Shanae Cuffey?
Hello, my name is Shanae Cuffey. I'm from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. I graduated from Elizabeth City State University. I was formerly employed at East Carolina University, and I will be a processing assistant at the ECU Outpost for Medicaid.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Karen Suggs?
Hi, my name is Karen Suggs. I'm a caseworker in FNS at DSS. I just transferred in from Greene County DSS, and I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, thank you. And Inez Black?
Hello, everyone. My name is Inez Black. It's my second day on the job, so I'm still trying to learn what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to be working with the accounting team, and I'm a lifetime learner. I love to learn. I have a doctorate in finance, and I'm currently getting a master's in education with a focus on instructional design for online learning. So I just like to be diverse.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. The next part of our agenda will be to recognize our retirees, and we'll step forward, and we have proclamations for everyone that we would like to read, and we'll call you up.
Okay, so this is a good part. So, we will call up Denise Moore Jones. Whereas we are here today to express our special recognition to Denise Moore Jones and to honor her for her distinguished 26-year career with Pitt County Department of Social Services. And whereas Denise began her career on October 21st, 1996 as an income maintenance caseworker, 2, on
On April 16th, she was transferred to become a social worker 1. Denise was promoted to a social worker 2 on February 2nd, 2003, and then to social worker 3 on February 25th, 2007. Finally, on October 8th, 2017, she was promoted to the position of social work 3 supervisor until her retirement, which will occur on February 28th, 2023. Whereas Denise has proven herself to be a valuable asset to Pitt County Department of Social Services with a vast knowledge of the department's policy, procedures, and a respected leader in the Child Protective Service Division. And whereas Denise has worked constantly for the betterment of children and families in the Pitt County communities, and whereas the Pitt County Department of Social Services wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Denise for her dedication to the outstanding performance of her duties during her tenure. And whereas this proclamation is presented to Denise to serve as a reminder that although she is retiring, she will always be remembered as a valued employee dedicated to both her position and our community. Now therefore, I, Sharon L. Rochelle, Director of Pitt County Social Services, and on behalf of our governing body and the citizens of Pitt County, do hereby present this proclamation to Denise Moore Jones as a testimonial to the faithful and dedicated services which she has performed for the past 26 years, with our best wishes for continued success and happiness in the future. Teresa Fleming. Come on down. Whereas we are here today to express special recognition to Teresa Fleming and to honor her for her distinguished 23-year career with Pitt County Department of Social Services. Teresa began her career on April 5th, 1999 as a data entry specialist. On October 31st, 1999, she was promoted to an income maintenance caseworker 1. Teresa was promoted to a social worker 1 on October 28th, 2001, and to a social worker 2 on July 17th, 2015. Finally, on December 4th, 2016, she was promoted to the position of social worker 2 supervisor until her retirement, which will occur on February 28th, 2023. Whereas Teresa has proven herself to be a valuable asset to Pitt County Department of Social Services with a vast knowledge of the department's policy and procedures and a respected leader in the crisis intervention and Medicaid transportation unit. And whereas Teresa has worked constantly for the betterment of members in the Pitt County communities, and the Pitt County Department of Social Services wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Teresa for her dedication to the outstanding performance of her duties during her tenure. And this proclamation is presented to Teresa to serve as a reminder that although she is retiring, she will always be remembered as a valued employee dedicated to both her position and our community. Now therefore, I, Sharon L. Rochelle, Director of Pitt County Social Services, and on behalf of our governing body and the citizens of Pitt County, do hereby present this proclamation to Teresa Fleming as a testimonial to the faithful and dedicated services which she has performed for the past 23 years, with our best wishes for continued success and happiness in the future. And Rhonda Dawson will be the next person to present this proclamation. Come on up, Tammy.
Proclamation on the occasion of her retirement, Tammy F. Lewis. Whereas we are here today to express special recognition to Tammy F. Lewis and to honor her for her distinguished 30-plus year career with Pitt County Department of Social Services. And whereas Tammy began her career on September 1st, 1991 as a social worker 3, on September 1, 2022, she was promoted to Social Worker Supervisor 3. And finally, on February 26, 2017, she was promoted to the position of Social Work Program Administrator 2 until her retirement on December 30th, 2022. And whereas Tammy has proven herself to be a valuable asset to Pitt County Department of Social Services with a vast knowledge of the department's policy and procedures and a respected leader in the Child Welfare Division. And whereas Tammy has worked constantly for the betterment of children and families of the Pitt County Department of Social Services and the community, and whereas the Pitt County Department of Social Services wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Tammy for her dedication to the outstanding performance of her duties during her tenure. And whereas this proclamation is presented to Tammy to serve as a reminder that although she is retiring, she will always be remembered as a valued employee dedicated to both her position and our community. Now therefore, Sharon L. Rochelle, Director of Pitt County Department of Social Services, and on behalf of our governing body of the citizens of Pitt County, do hereby present this proclamation to Tammy F. Lewis as a testimony to the faithful and dedicated services for which she has performed for the past 32 years, with our best wishes for continued success and happiness in the future.
So there might be a couple of members of our audience that would just like to give Tammy just a couple of encouraging words. So if you'd like to stand up and just introduce yourself and let us know what you
I'm
have.
Peter Sword, and I retired 10 years ago, and I want to give encouraging words to Tammy that you're going to enjoy your retirement. You're enjoying your retirement check. You'll also enjoy the Pitt County medical assistance about your retirement. But we remember many a time going through the fun time of going through the annual reviews. That was one of the highlights of our careers. So, Tammy, good luck to you. Good luck to your family. Enjoy your grandchildren. All right.
Well, I'm the shy retiree of the group. But I retired in 2013. Tammy and I worked together from the time she came, because I was here a year prior to Tammy coming on board. But I must ditto Peter to say, yes, you will enjoy retirement, and it'll be the sweetest day today, as it is Valentine's Day of your life. So enjoy it. I will always be your friend, your fellow co-worker, and we will now have a lot of time to get together and have lunch. So, thank you. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you've taught me and everything you've done for the community here, and know that you have taught us what we need and that we'll go forward and do what you taught us to do.
Can't see it behind me. Just want to say thank you for all the opportunities, all the late nights that we stayed here, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The late phone calls. Thank you for all the experience, the wisdom that you shared throughout the years. We wish you the best. Now get to that side hustle.
My name is Mildred Daniels, and I can attest to everything that has been said because I was here when all of them came. I cut around the block a few times. But Tammy, I wish you the best. You and I have had some times together, foster care, child welfare, whatever. And I will say that I hope you enjoy retirement, but please don't think that is getting up late in the morning and having your day to yourself, because the word is out that you have retired. So now everybody is You can also work smarter because you choose what you do now.
Exactly.
Whereas when you were here, you did what you had to do because we knew we had to protect those children and, work with the families, the parents, the grandparents, everybody. But you can now work smarter by choosing what you want to do.
Amen.
Well, Miss Candy, even though I retired before you, you don't have to worry about calling Reaper name and Sarah name. Reaper and Sarah, y'all get it together. So now when you retire finally and go home tonight, you don't have to think about us at night.
So, after our meeting today,
I'm
sorry.
Can you say too much without crying? Like everybody said, our world is better for having you a part of it, and we miss you. But we all wish you the best.
Tammy and I worked in the Children's Services Unit together after I had been here 3 or 4 years after I had started. So we've been the distance together with all the DSS work that's gone on over the years. But I wish you well in your retirement, and we'll be thinking about you. And don't think about us too much.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your kind words, and we all do wish Tammy well. After our meeting today, we have a cake and refreshments to celebrate our retirees, and hope that you'll stick around to be able to partake in the cake and wish everybody well. So, thank you all for coming too.
Well, let me say thank you all.
Okay, everybody dry your eyes. Okay, let's get moving on to the next part of our agenda. Items from the report. We have Chandra Mewburn.
Good afternoon. Today I'm bringing with me Miss Morgan Waddell. She is a financial service representative from the State Employees Credit Union on Highway 33. She is one of our community partners. Not only did they provide Christmas to the children during the holidays, we are also partnering during the year. They are looking to work with our teenage population with helping them with financial skills and any other things that we may need in the agency for our children. So this is Morgan.
Hi, we've been really excited to work with DSS these last 2 years. It's not just even our employees that have been working, but even the members of the credit union enjoy coming in and making donations. I actually had to call Ms. Chandra back this year because she had picked up all of the donations and they just kept coming, so I had to get her to come back and get some more. So she's been so great to work with. We've been so thankful to work with you guys, and we're looking forward to what we can do in the future.
Thank you.
And oh, I'm sorry. And this is Mr. Gary Smith with Sharing Our Blessings. When God calls people are in need, we are ready to help them. Mr. Smith goes out in the community and he gets donations for the children within the child welfare system, not only during the holidays, but during the year. And so this is Mr. Gary Smith, and I'm going to let him say a few words.
Hello, my name is Gary Smith, and it's been a blessing to be able to work with you guys to help these children, because God put in my heart years ago to give. And one day I said, well, give what? I don't have anything. And he said, open up your door, your closet door, and I'll open up many more, and that was 9 years ago. And 2 years ago, he said, give to children. And I started thinking about what he was saying, blessing, share your blessings ministry. And I'm like, we're supposed to share. If one of your neighbors don't have a coat, give them one. You got 2 or 3. If someone has need food, give it to them. God blessed us. So I said, God, how am I going to do this? And he just said, I'll direct your path. And I ran up, I asked a few people, and someone directed me to Sister Tasha Woolard. And for 2 years now, we've been doing it. And I have a pickup truck, a Silverado. And my goal every year is to fill that truck up at least 3 times or 2. And I work at Greenville Auto Auction. I'm retired too, y'all. But I'm still working. I'm still working. I'm retired too, but God just said, okay, I need you to do a little bit. So we go to Greenville Auto Auction, we fill up boxes. We get these auctioneers that, hey, it's about these children. That's why I'm so excited for working with you, because he put in my heart, children are our future. And you guys know better than me, because y'all deal with them on hand. But I grew up, didn't have a lot. And it just made me realize that, hey, these are our future, and we gotta let them know somebody loves them. They don't have to see me. They just got to be able to wake up on a Christmas day or come around and say, somebody gave me a coat. Somebody gave me some socks. Somebody did something for me. And we won't have all this tragedy out in these streets. I really want to thank each and every last one of you for allowing me, especially you, for working with you. And I'm hoping it gets better every year. Next year, I'm looking to fill up 2 or 3 trucks. So God bless y'all, and thank you.
Thank you.
So-
you.
We know that coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, and working together is success. So we want to continue to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shonda.
Okay, we have Rhonda Dawson, Permanency Planning.
Good afternoon. That's going to be hard to follow. Ms. Rochelle asked me to kind of talk about updates that are going on in permanency planning. Some of the updates that are going on with us is we are in the process of currently licensing 7 foster homes to go with the 30 homes that we already have. They're also in the process of trying to get our face-to-face meetings back and our trainings with our foster parents. We have one scheduled for February the 25th, and at that meeting, our in-house clinical social worker is going to talk about the importance of shared parenting, sibling visits, and things like that. And we're having some hairstylists come in to look at multiracial hair. We all always know how to get the hair right, so we're trying to get some folks in to try and get some additional resources to help with that. And also go over looking at roles and responsibilities, as well as looking at where retention and bringing new foster parents in, word of mouth. So we're gearing up for that, and that's going to be on February 25th. Here, I believe it's here at the agency. Some of the other things we have going on is we have our Links event today for Valentine's Day for our teenagers. So those are really the good things going on. I'm also talking with PJ, so some of the stuff I need to talk about, I'll wait for PJ. But we currently have about 200 kids in custody. In the process of taking custody, we were taking custody, working on that right before I came in here. So we're starting to see more teenagers come in again. We've got 2 sitting over at the hospital right now that we're working on, and another one that the parent said the child couldn't return home. So those are some of the challenges that we're facing, and I'll get into more of those challenges when PJ comes up here with me. But I've currently got a supervisor position that I'm going to be interviewing for this week. And I have 8 other vacancies that I'm starting to interview for those positions next week. So hopefully we're getting ready to rebuild. The majority of our positions, other than one, have been lost in the past 3 months. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get those folks in and get some relief to the current staff we have. So, any questions?
So Rhonda, and if you want to talk about this when PJ comes up, maybe a little bit about the times when we do not have a foster or appropriate placement for children.
So some of the challenges that we are facing is not having appropriate placements for. I'm gonna let her talk and then I'll talk.
Sounds like I got bad news, but, and it is a little bit. You have a chart, I think, in your package. On the bottom of it, gave you a tracking of the county-only portion of foster care. That's the kids that we bring in that we get no reimbursement for. If you will look, it has continually grown since 2020. You can see what we had budgeted in 2020 was $75,000, and we spent $87,000. 21, we had $71,000 budgeted, and we only spent $37,000. So it was fluctuation of the children, I'm sure. Then in 2022, we budgeted $150,000, and we spent $246,000. And 2023 is not a great thing for me to tell you. We budgeted $150,000. As of February, we have spent $290,787.67. And I project that if we continue on the path we are, which we probably will have to because we've got to take care of these children, we'll probably end up $500,000 county-only funding in fiscal year 2023, which is not budgeted for, but we'll figure out what we're going to do. And then at the top of that budget, this has nothing really to do with foster care. You can see our revenues by month and our expenditures by month, and they're tracking pretty good, so I don't have anything much to say about that. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. It's your turn.
So PJ is talking about the expenditures of the all-county dollars. Since 2020, that's when we've had to start using what we call respite services. And that began to change where we started to see where we had to use services like this. And respite is used whenever we get children into custody who have high mental health needs, who have developmental disabilities, a combination. Some are teenagers, just with some ADHD, but teenagers are scary. Some with a criminal past, criminal charges with DJJ ongoing. So in 2020, we did respite for 28 kids, and 6 of those were for multiple months. In 2021, we did respite for 49 children, and 15 of those children were for multiple months. In 2022, I lost count of how many children we did, but 27 were for multiple months. In the month of June alone, we had 20 children in respite. And looking at these children just now in 2020, those children all are recommended for higher levels of care, other than we have one outlier whose mom is a teen mom, and we didn't take custody of that child, so that's all county money, and her baby stays with her at her placement, so we have to pay for that baby, even without taking custody. The majority of these children are in level 3 group homes, psychiatric residential treatment facilities, intensive alternative family therapeutic homes. And we have one that is currently in YDC. So these are our very top of the end kids. Your IEFT homes, you can only have one other child in the home. Your level 3 homes, those are your group homes that offer 24-hour supervision. Your PRTFs are your psychiatric treatment facilities. Those are your locked facilities for your kids. Some of the things that we're seeing has caused so many of our children to start having to go to respite. We've seen Trillium has changed the way that they do care coordination. Back in 2019, 2020, Trillium had care coordinators, and those care coordinators were assigned to the kids. And then in 21-22, they changed how they do their assignments. So now their coordinators are assigned to the facilities. And we have to work with private entities to do our case management and the agencies that is technically the clinical home for a child. So, for instance, if a child comes into custody and they're receiving MST or intensive in-home from one company, that company is that child's clinical home, and that company is responsible for assisting us in trying to locate appropriate care for that child. We have had instances where even with using respite and begging sometimes our foster parents for a night, because some of these children are pretty scary, that we have had to stay at the agency multiple nights, including on weekends, and in which case that's 24/7 care here at the agency. I say that to say when we've had to do that, the staff has preferred to stay here with them versus in a hotel. I think there's a level of security being at the agency versus in a hotel with a child. And during a day when we have to do that, it's about 10 staff to cover a day, because you always have 2 staff, and I rotate them every 5 hours. As we know, DSS isn't a place for children to live. There's one shower in this building that has hot water, and it's in the Board of Education. So we use that whenever school system is out. So there's different things, and it's not just here that we're seeing this, it's happening across the state. Different counties are looking at different things, whether it's renting an apartment, some are buying houses, various different things. So these are some of the barriers and some of the things that we're seeing, the trends, and I don't foresee the trend changing. Parents think that we have the magic answer. Me and Miss Newborn sat in a meeting the other day with a parent about, she said her child couldn't come home, and she said, y'all can find a place. Well, we can't, and we tried to explain to her that it's not that easy. The people that are working with her to try and help her daughter are the same people that we're gonna work with to help her child. But at the end of the day, if they come into custody, they are our children. They are Pitt County's children. And we are gonna do what we can to take care of them and to try and keep them safe and try and keep our staff safe. I will say with the number of children we have in care, and if we do have to spend the night, it does create that extra burden. And it is a lot harder because people have their own families at home as well. So that's where we're seeing things, because some of these kids are not appropriate for regular foster homes. Some of these children are not appropriate for therapeutic foster care. But with COVID and the need for mental health services, facilities have been able to, I don't want to say choose, but if you have a 9-year-old with extreme behaviors versus a 16-year-old with extreme behaviors, you're going to take the 9-year-old because they're going to, in theory, cause less damage and be more easily managed. So, and there's a wait list for kids to go into facilities. We are starting to place kids back in South Carolina again. I think we have 1 or 2 there, and we're looking to place 2 more back in South Carolina within the next week or so. So that is what is going on in foster care with the assistance of PJ.
Rhonda, could you, not the number of children, but because I know we've had children back in the agency on several occasions, it's the same child, but they have been back multiple times. Just a rough estimate, like in the last year, how many times staff have had to be here at the agency to care for the children?
That have spent the night in the past year, I met with the supervisors, and we counted 5 that have had to stay in the agency more than one night.
And I'd like to say that even when you bring them into the agency to stay like that, it's not cost effective. It's not saving you anything because they have multiple workers like her that have to be with them, which cost overtime, keeping the lights on and all that. So it's not cost effective to keep them in here, even if it were a good environment for the child. It still costs just probably about as much, if not more, than putting them in a therapeutic place.
I have a question about the budget,
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Quinn. So are you saying that by the end of June, we will not have revenues to cover our expenditures?
No, ma'am, I'm not really saying that. Our revenues run a month behind the expenditures, so it looks like we're running behind now, and we are, but February's revenues will come in March. They run a month behind. So based on what I've looked at in the past fiscal years and stuff, I think we'll be okay by the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Rhonda, I have a question about the services in South Carolina. Can you briefly describe what they're doing that we aren't
Well,
doing?
it's a psychiatric residential treatment
Okay.
facility. So it's a hospital that has a contract with Trillium. So by them having that contract with Trillium, if they're accepted, it makes the process a little bit more expedited to get them there. We have worked with Trillium to do single case agreements when we found placements outside of Trillium's catchment. And we've worked here to try and expedite our contract process if we find a placement that is not in the contract, that we don't have a contract with. So we're trying to do other things and to try and help find placements for kids, but it's really hard, especially when you have a child that has mental health and developmental delays, because there's even less placement opportunities for those kids.
Thank you.
Rhonda, could you give an estimate? I know that it varies, but when we've had to place children in respite and some of the higher levels, what that cost is per day to the agency?
The cost per day, the agency that we use the most is $237.70.
$267.
Oh, they've gone up, okay, it's gone up to $267. There's one company that
Per
we.
day.
Per day. And there's another company that we use that charges over $400 per day. And we have done different things when, because some of these children end up with reputations. And we have to work really hard with our partners to try and have a place for these kids to stay at times. So yeah, it's $267 a day now, and we currently have 6 children in respite homes right now. And we're looking at 1, 2, 3. We're looking at 4 we're looking at all of them but 1, hopefully moving by the end of this month. But we've also got more children coming in, so I'm sure we'll have to look at those because they don't have services in place right now, and we've got to figure out what their needs are.
So you can understand how this money triples, quadruples in a very short period of time. And there's really, except for the best guesstimate that you can make when you're trying to put a budget together, and it's risen dramatically over the years, that you're never gonna, I mean, you'd be able to do this if you could predict the future, but we can't. So we do the best. I think as time's gone on, we see that there's been an increase, and be able to budget for the next budget year based on what we've seen, and only we've seen children come into care in those increases that have occurred. So
There just seems to be a huge jump from FY21 to the very next year in terms of the actual expenditures. When you look at the county-only foster projected care.
I cannot talk to you about why that was. She's talking about here where we we were down to $37,000. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Because we actually had, in 2021, or was it 2022? 21 or 20. we actually had a couple months in 2021 where there were only like 2 to 3 kids that were in the respite placements. In 2022, the lowest number that we have had in any type of respite has been 5 children at any given time.
Okay.
That's the best I can say as it relates
It's
to
just
the
such a
money.
huge jump.
Mhm.
Huge.
And some of these children in 2022 also received respite in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So we get them stable, and then whatever happens, and then they start becoming unstable again and start bouncing around. And we get them stable, and then we, it's the process. And the majority of these children are teenagers and have had extensive trauma.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Averett.
Good afternoon. I'll report on the Medicaid program, food and nutrition services, low-income energy assistance, and the low-income household water assistance program. We passed the Medicaid report card for January with 94% for disability applications and 91% for all other applications. In food and nutrition services, as of today, we have 672 pending applications. That number has edged up a little bit because in January, we received 350 more applications than we had received the previous month. November and December applications had dropped a little bit, but in January, we received over 1,300 applications for food and nutrition services. Our last FNS vacancy will be filled on Monday, so we're happy about that. That's a milestone we've reached, and I'm confident with the staff that are working diligently now carrying this. In addition to the folks that are sitting behind me that have started, we're going to move forward, and the staff are happy that y'all have joined us. The other thing I'd like to mention about food and nutrition services is the ending of the FNS pandemic supplements. Pandemic supplements were received by all food and nutrition services households beginning in March 2020. So for almost 3 years now, every household has received a supplement in addition to what the household normally qualifies for through the FNS guidelines. This is a federal government decision. All the benefits for food and nutrition services recipients, all of it is federal money. And the last supplements for food and nutrition services will be received later in the month. Pitt County DSS released a press release concerning this on January 31st. We had coverage through WITN and the Daily Reflector, and WNCT also had coverage from a surrounding county about the same subject. So those two local TV stations and also the Daily Reflector have publicized the change. And the state has also done things through social media on Twitter. All FNS households are receiving a notice from the state notifying them of the change. I would just like to give you an example of what kind of impact it could have. These are just sample situations, but to illustrate what supplement has been received, say, for instance, a household of one individual, if the individual qualified for $100 through the FNS program, the maximum amount allowable for a one-person household is $281. So that means they qualified for $100, they received a supplement of $181. So for February, they're going to get the $100 allotment plus $181 at the end of February. When March starts, they will only receive $100 per month. And of course, this is going to be a difficult adjustment because the public health emergency and what the pandemic necessitated happened or continued a lot longer than initially early on what people thought it would. A household of 4 individuals, an example, if the household qualified for $700 and the maximum amount for a household of 4 is $939, the supplement there would have been $239, so that means in March, that $239 is not going to be there at the end of the month. So what we will be doing in the agency when our clients call us is we will be connecting them or giving them information about food pantries in the community that can be accessed to help them supplement their food and nutrition needs beyond what they are qualifying for through the Food and Nutrition Services program. In low-income energy assistance, as of January 31st, we had assisted 2,246 households in Pitt County, and we had remaining $721,051. We are continuing to receive applications for that program, and the program will continue as long as funds are available until March 31st. In the low-income household water assistance program, at the end of January, we had $892 left, and within the next day or so after that, those funds had been exhausted in early February. So we've gone for almost 2 weeks with no funds in that program, but we got notification today that Pitt County has received an additional allocation of $279,152 for that program. So there are, again, funds available for those wanting to apply and need assistance with water. And that's my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Abbott?
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment. Brian and I had the opportunity to present to the Board of Commissioners on February 6th.
Correct.
Just to notify them, because I'm sure their constituents will be contacting them when their supplement gets decreased, and we just wanted to give them that heads up as to what would be happening and give them an idea what to expect.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sonia Scott, you're up next.
Good afternoon. Just wanted to briefly give an update of the Family Support Services Unit. I'm gonna make it short and sweet. Want to briefly talk about our daycare program. As you guys know, daycare is in the forefront of the state and the federal government. So we've received a lot of funding for the last 2 fiscal years. And as of right now, Pitt County has the highest wait list, which is not a good thing. But we were fortunate that our director and our county manager has found 3 additional positions that we were able to get because it was a staff of 4. So now we actually have a staff of 7 in daycare. So we're hoping to see that turnaround once we get staff trained within that unit. So we're making progress into turning that around so that we're no longer have the highest wait list in North Carolina. Our crisis unit, so far we received it, our total allocation for this fiscal year was $789,000. We have issued $549,826.13. We have approved 3,104 households. We've denied 2,083. And right now, as of today, we have 452 pending applications. That is a staff of 5. We are fully staffed. And our applications have increased over the last 5 years from 3,000 to 10,000 applications per year. Staff have been working till 7 p.m. on their flex days, on Saturdays, on Sundays, whenever NC-FAST is up. Ms. Rochelle approved for staff to actually be able to work from home on the weekends instead of having to come into the office. We have a dedicated staff of 5, and I honestly don't know where this program would be without them. They are an amazing group of individuals, and I wanted to point that out to this board, of their commitment and dedication. And actually, even with daycare too, I don't want to leave anyone out. Everybody have gone above and beyond, because I've even had to reach out to other units, employment services, child support. All of those have contributed into coming in, doing interviews to assist in any way to serve the citizens of Pitt County. I do want to point out, Ms. Fleming is retiring, and I just want to just say to her publicly how much I appreciate her. When she told me she was retiring, I actually cried because she has a wealth of knowledge, and she is so dedicated and committed. I have seen times when it's been 4:55 and someone will come to the front and their utilities have been disconnected. She's not leaving until she gets it resolved. And that's just the commitment and dedication that comes not just from her, but from her staff. With our rental assistance, our emergency assistance program, our 200%, the last couple of years, we barely spend $3,000 in funds. Our budget for that is $40,000. We're at $36,000 this year. Just the current economic condition. And it's not just unique to Pitt County. We had a meeting, a state meeting last week, and this is across the state. The state has seen, and each county has seen an uptick of anywhere from 5% to 10% in applications. So I won't discuss the challenges of the crisis unit. It's simple. We need additional staff. We are not in compliance as far as timeliness, but there's no way 5 people can possibly process 125 applications in one day within 48 hours. But they do their very best, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to work with and to be on, to be a part of their team. So you have a handout. I'm not going to go through that handout, but I wanted to just take this time to acknowledge all of the staff of DSS. I think it's important that we acknowledge them sometimes, from child welfare to adult services to income maintenance to family support. I think Keisha put it the best way possible in a meeting we had a couple of months ago. Pitt County has grown, but DSS has not grown. But it's because of the staff here at DSS that we have managed to survive and to stay afloat. And I just want to personally thank each and every one of you for all you do and for your commitment to Pitt County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Rochelle? Director's report?
The first thing I wanted to talk about is our remote work policy. Done a little research, and North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services actually has policy and procedure on how to do a remote work program within the Department of Social Services. We are doing a pilot right now to see how we're able to meet the need of the employees and try to manage a work-life balance, which I think is something that has been difficult. I know we did the 4 10-hour day pilot, which turned out, I think it was very successful and turned out well. But I think we can't stop there. I think we have to look for other alternatives, not only to complete our work, but to be able to keep staff here working as well as recruit new staff. So there's quite an intense and long policy and procedure. Just a few highlights of that are that there is a work plan that would be given to the person to be able to work remotely with the expectation that that work plan be completed. I think we're in a different world after COVID where we're able to take a look at what that work product is, not only the quality but the quantity. Also to look at that being able to do a program like this would be a privilege for staff, but not necessarily a right. And if it had to be taken back, that could be done. But to move forward in the idea that our state as a whole, anybody that works for the Department of Health and Human Services, most of them work remotely with a couple of days in the office. And so to do a little bit more research on how that would look for our department. I had Harvey White, our IT person, take a look at what it would actually cost for someone to be able to work completely remote if we had to be able to provide them with the licenses and the laptop, anything they would need. And so the cost per employee, which we know a lot of our employees already have this in place, would be $2,804. What I would like to do is to consider, we've talked about being able to combine the buildings for the Department of Social Services and put an addition on the building at the Health and Human Services Center across the river. And what I would like to take a look at is what would be the most cost-effective way to handle this. Would we, decrease the size of the DSS footprint by allowing people to work remotely as opposed to putting a big addition on the building across the river? And so looking at all the options that might be available to us. What we know is that we are growing. We're going to need more staff. We're outgrowing this building. We're doubling up in offices. What are we looking at for our future needs and how do we meet those needs? So more to come on that, and we will report out at each meeting how things are going with that. The second thing is I've spoken with the Casey Family Foundation. They are willing to provide us with, at least in the beginning, $22,000 a year, and that may increase depending on how this prevention program would look. But what could we do that would be unique to Pitt County to provide preventive services? And what I know is the more we can do to prevent children being brought into care and keeping families together, the better it is for those children, families, and the department as a whole. What can we do to wrap those services around, keep children at home to the best of our ability? And so I'm looking at some early intervention programs, one of which would be to have a caseworker outstationed in the school. So when children come into elementary school and we know that there's some issues with the family, that we go in more of a helpful, supportive way than to wait for what I say, the 911 call to Child Protective Services, like, now this family needs help. What can we do to get in there early to help prevent families from being torn apart and also being out in the community? I think when we consider a remote work pilot, it's one thing to have people all stationed in one building, but I think where we're really going to be able to make a difference is if we're out in the community doing this work. And I mean, in Bethel, in Aden, whatever township, how can people be out there actually being part of the community to do some of this work and be available to the people that need the services? So that's where I see us going and being there someday, as opposed to being in a building altogether, but being out in the community and show our community what it is that we do and how we can be helpful and get ahead of some of the things that we've experienced. So I'm going to be writing just a brief recommendation to Casey to be able to receive those funds, and I'm hoping that the $22,000 will just be a beginning.
Any questions? No? That's good. Wonderful. Okay, we're at the point where board member comments. Do I have anyone?
Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to all of our new employees, and congratulations to Denise, Teresa, and Tammy for over 81 years of service to the Pitt County Department of Social Services. Kudos to all for what you have done to make the community a better place for children and families.
I'll just say that I was very struck, Mr. Averett, when you talked about the impact that will happen with the loss of this supplement. And so I know that Pitt County is famous for the community coming together and helping our citizens. And so I just applaud our community in advance for the way that we will have to step up to stock those food banks, because if you're going to refer families to food banks, we need them to be full. So I just encourage the community to continue to be creative in how we assist in thinking about those food banks that families are going to need even more than they've been using them before.
I would just like to say congratulations to the retirees. Job well done. And give a special thanks to Rhonda and Sonia's teams. That was some powerful information. So I also want to just follow up with Sonia's thanks with both good and bad, and say thanks to your teams as well. Appreciate it.
I think we're blessed to have the group we have, don't y'all?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I want to thank Ms. Rochelle for her forward thinking about the telework process and the pilot, and for looking for resources like the Casey Foundation to help us underwrite some of the work that we're doing in non-traditional ways. So with that, anyone else have any more comments? Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. See you next month.